Everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings, an NFC East podcast. We are recording after Week 18. Guys, the regular season is over. Shout out to Maurice for winning the NFC East regular season championship. We're not going to applaud you because, bump your team. But congratulations, you get the team hat of your choice from the team website. We will all pitch in to get it for you. Send me the link. You'll have to wear it as your profile picture for the next year.
The whole year?
Until somebody else wins the division. Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Well, really? Maybe not the whole year, but we'll talk about it later. Anyway. But that being said, guys, first off, GG's, good games, good seasons. We got through our second regular season of this podcast. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Time's flying, man.
Yeah.
Time's flying.
I feel improved.
But not improved enough to interrupt our beginning of our episode stuff.
Hey, if you would have got it right the first time, we wouldn't be at that point.
Hey. Let's not point fingers, except that I am pointing a finger. That being said, let's get to... So we're going to review the Week 18.
Ooh, boy.
Okay. Well, what we do have is predictions, and that's what we're going to get into first at the beginning of this episode. Now, we've been doing we previewed our predictions before the season. We've done weekly updates on the predictions. So we're first going to go look at our, predictions for Week 18, and then we're going to see whose prediction for each team was the closest. So you guys ready for this? All right, for the Dallas Cowboys, we all predicted a win there. That did not happen, and I am very happy that it did not happen.
Kick rocks.
You predicted your team to lose too?
Yeah. I didn't trust. It was us on the road. Look, I did not keep the faith. Like I said, I had us going 8-9, which is not close to what our 12-5 record said about us. So it happens. So for the Giants, we had all L's. Commanders, we had all L's. And then, of course, Eagles, we had all W's. So, let's see. Let's go with the division winner, Eagles. Let's see whose prediction for the Eagles was the closest. So, for the Eagles, I had them going 10-7. Earl had them going 11-6. Mal had 10-7. And Maurice had 13-4. So, not only did you win the division, you got your prediction correct.
Yeah, it was one game off.
Yeah, he was close.
Yeah, it was close, man.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy. So, next one here, we'll go to the Commanders because they were second in the division. The closest one here was Earl. Shout out, Earl. I had them going 8-9. Earl had them going 9-8. And you and Mal and Maurice both had them going 5-12. Haters.
I just went off of Dan Quinn's record starting at the beginning of his tenure. So we'll see how it goes after that.
Yeah, we'll see. Next one we'll do is the Cowboys.
Not even close for me.
Actually, I was the closest. So I had them going 8-9, which you guys won 8-9, didn't you?
7-10.
7-10. So closest there. Earl and Mal both had them going 12-5, and Maurice had them going 11-6. So far, we have Maurice Geeding getting the Eagles right. I'm getting the Cowboys right, and Earl's gotten the Commanders right. Mal, hopefully we can save you here at the Giants.
Probably not for me.
No, I got it. I got the closest. Earl and Mal both had an 8-9 record. Maurice had a 5-12 record, and I had a 4-13 record.
3-14.
I had a strong belief in that.
No, I was the closest. So I got 2 out of the 4 teams correct.
They were 3-14, right?
So I got 4, and I had them as 4-13. So I got 2 teams out of the division correct. Not my own team, which I'm a little disappointed in, but
you did that because they had Daniel Jones on the team. You definitely couldn't stand that, brother.
Hey, first off, it's just been my thing, okay? I can tell when somebody wasn't good. And now he was on the practice squad until now the playoffs for the Vikings. Congratulations, he's on the regular roster now.
So you basically call him.
I don't care.
So you're a hater.
You know what?
I don't care what that
I
man
just
does.
drank my haterade before we started, so you know what? I'm feeling good about it. So, But you know what? Daniel Jones isn't in the division anymore. Let's just get to the games here, guys.
But he is in the playoffs.
He is in the playoffs.
He is.
But you know who's not in the playoffs?
Go ahead.
I was going to say the Giants, but okay. We are going to talk, but we're not going to talk about the Giants yet. We're going to talk about the Commanders and Cowboys game, 12-13. Earl, GG's. You go first.
GG's.
I'll follow up.
All right, we'll do. And solitary GG's to you, Lucas. The Dallas Cowboys lost to the Washington Commanders 23-19. It was a game where it didn't mean much to Dallas, but it definitely wanted to leave off on a good note, having a dull season. But the Commanders had a last-minute touchdown with Mariota hitting Terry McLaurin in the end zone with like 2 seconds left in the game. And, hey, it is one of those rivalry games where anything can happen, and whoever makes that play at the end wins it. And Washington did that. So the season is over, and Dallas finished 7-10. Their home record was abysmal, and I'm not even going to go into the record of it. If you know, you know. And one thing that I noticed with this team, especially with how they competed overall in this season, they didn't give up when people thought to just tank the season. And it really showed me a lot on what the team was, especially with fighting, even through the injuries, as well as just the situation where the front office didn't do anything to add and help the team. So I'm going to give them all their flowers for participating, as well as just making sure that they didn't lay down and let this season just roll over. You fought to the very end. Salute. One player that I want to give some credit to is Trey Lance. I know he's been waiting the entire season to get his chance, and he got his chance. He didn't do too bad. There was some plays he could have back. Really couldn't help with the touchdown being dropped by Ferguson in the end zone. I actually believe that Dallas may have found their backup quarterback to Dak Prescott. I think it's time to move on from Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, get him on a cheaper deal. He is the backup to Dak Prescott.
Do you think that he could be the future after Dak?
I believe so, yeah. I think over time that with his ability, I mean, he threw the ball. He had 244 yards. He ran the ball for like probably around 40 yards. Hold on, let me see. He had it for 26 yards, but he showed some flashes that he can move around in the pocket, and that's something that I really think Dak can't do anymore. And Trey Lance, he's young and he's still learning, but he has a torpedo of an arm. It's just the inaccuracy. If he works on that, I think he's a sure starter when his number's called. And I think he can be the successor after Dak Prescott. But honestly, for me, I would look for a quarterback in the draft. And I have a guy in mind, but I'll get to that when I do my prospect next week. But overall, I think Trey Lance did enough to at least show that he can be QB2 with the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's time to move on from Cooper Rush. We already know what he can do. And I think with him there, it's going to make Dak Prescott complacent, where I would want Lance to be there to keep Dak on his toes, where he doesn't feel like he's sleeping. He really has somebody over his shoulder, especially with young legs, got a bigger arm. All Lance got to do is get that accuracy right, and he's a bona fide quarterback. And over time, that takes time. But I believe he's the closest thing that could possibly mess with Dak, especially with Dak being injury prone as he is. And yeah, I just think they should keep him on the roster, put him on a smaller deal. And yeah, you traded a fourth for him. So yeah, just got to see what plays out, especially this offseason. And I don't even know what the Joneses are doing with Mike McCarthy. So I'll get to that at a later time. But what went wrong in this game? it's just kind of the same thing as it goes with this, especially with the home games. And it's just, it is what it is. What went right in this game, I'm giving to Micah Parsons and Brandon Aubrey. They both set records in this game. And with Micah Parsons, he had double-digit sacks in four seasons. The only player to do that with him is the late, great Reggie White. There's only them two alone with that. So I want to give Micah his flowers on that. And Brandon Aubrey set the record for most field goals in the regular season, over 50 plus. And yeah, he's got to get paid. So I think there was some guys on this roster this season that played to their very best. And I definitely want to credit them for that. I saw some guys, especially backups, playing tough as well. I give them their credit. The player of the game, I'm going to give it to Brandon Aubrey. And yeah, I'm done. Go ahead, Lucas.
So before I get started, I just want to say, I think Jerry Jones did Cooper Rush really dirty by not playing him enough snaps so that he could get that $50,000. What is it? $500,000 bonus, $500,000 bonus. He did him dirty. Like if you're gonna play him, like if either play Trey like half the remaining of the season after Dak's injury, or like play Cooper Rush enough so that he can get that bonus. It's just showing that Jerry's super cheap. And
couldn't agree more.
Because we'll talk about the Mike McCarthy stuff in a bit. For the Commanders, look, your guys' defense. It's when it's healthy, it's hard to score against you guys. And our offensive line was lacking. Injuries, aren't an excuse, but when you're missing your center who calls out all the protections and does what he does, it makes things a lot more difficult against an elite defensive player like Micah Parsons. Look, Marcus Mariota. I was not a fan of the move, but you know what? He came in. He won us the game in the second half. Jaden could have played. Let's be clear. Now, they did say he had some leg soreness, but he could have played if he had him.
Dallas had him on lock.
Let me ask you this. Was he benched because of his play, or did they want to rest him, quote unquote?
They wanted to rest him. They didn't want to risk further injury. That's because he had a sore leg, but he could have played if it was a playoff situation. That's what he said. But they didn't. Dan Quinn didn't want to risk it. And shout out to Terry McLaurin talking about records being broken. Terry McLaurin now is the single season, all-time record holder for touchdowns in a single season by a wide receiver. Shout out to him on that. Look, we're going into a really tough playoff game against a team that basically shellacked us in week 1.
Woo! Go Tampa!
The thing is, my mom was in Tampa for a while, so I do like to root for them when they're not playing against my team. But this week, Tampa can go kick rocks. I'm sorry.
Don't you got a tapestry of Tampa?
I do have it was my stepdad's tapestry. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
yep.
So at the end of the day, look, Commanders. I know Mal's going to be rooting against us because
Florida, woo!
Florida girl.
Yeah, that Florida girl. At least she's not a Florida man. The Florida man, the scariest human being of all time.
Yeah, that's facts.
Anyway, that being said, I don't really have too many notes on the game. Look, we need to be healthy. That's the bottom line. Everybody needs to be back healthy. If we are healthy and everything's clicking, I feel good about our chances. That's about it. Good divisional game. You guys came in trying to win it. I'm glad that you all didn't, because then I would have to be playing another divisional game this upcoming week, and I don't want to play in Philly week in the wild card.
I was hoping for it.
I bet you were.
Look, they had a game plan.
Time you admitted that.
I'd rather not play in Philly. I'd rather play Tampa Bay. Philly is a hard divisional game in the playoffs for us. I'd rather stay away from it in the wild card round.
Who knows? Y'all can still meet up.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to back down from a challenge, but if you're telling me you got options, I'd rather not play in Philly.
We'll talk about that when we get to the playoff matchups at the end.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really all I got. What went wrong? Our offensive line was bad. What went right? Marcus Mariota. Player of the game is Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
I give that to you, Lucas, because I really believe they had a game plan to stop Daniels. They didn't have Mariota on their radar, and
yeah, they didn't.
He pretty much just tore him up with the RPO.
Yeah, not saying that Jaden can't do it, but like for some reason, it's just like I guess they were prepared for when Jaden did it. I don't know. It's okay. Like I said, it worked out in the end. Jaden got some rest, and Mariota got some much needed burn. So I'm okay with it.
And shout out to the Cowboys for just showing up.
Yeah, they showed up. That being said, let's go to the other game where I would say both teams showed up, is the Giants and the Eagles back in MetLife Stadium. So Mal.
Yeah, I'll go first.
I thought it was Lincoln Financial.
No, it was in MetLife.
No, it wasn't. It
wasn't Lincoln Financial.
Oh, I thought it was a home game for the Giants. Okay, my bad.
No. Yeah, I don't have much to say because I'm going to keep it short because there's not really anything to talk about. Meaningless game for the Giants, 3-14. Woohoo! Giants secure their number 3 overall pick, which is exciting. Malik Neighbors broke the record for most receptions in Giants franchise history, beating Steve Smith for that. Other than that, very underwhelming game. Questionable play calling by Brian Dable. I think he got the message from Mara that he was safe, so he decided to tank this game away, which, I mean, they'll never say they would, but I don't know. Just some really questionable play calls. What went right? Not much. Not a good overall team performance. Just struggled offensively and defensively against third-string backups. But, I mean, hey, whatever. That's the story of our lives. Player of the game, Malik Neighbors. He's going to be really special once we can get him the right pieces around him. He's actually one of the only ones that really wants to win. So that's really all I got on the Giants game. I'll get more into the team news stuff. So take it away, Maurice.
Then for us, we won the game. All our backups came in. Well, majority of backups. A couple of defensive starters did play. But majority of our backups played. Jahan Dotson finally got some burn. Got some catches. Tanner McKee was our quarterback. I like Tanner McKee. He should be our second-string quarterback next season. Besides that, this was a game, a week ago, this could have been a really special game because of Saquon. But to Nick Sirianni's credit, he did the right thing. And he said his players. And overall, I think it was the right decision. Yeah, as fans, we all want to see it broken. We really do. And I talked about this on our YouTube exclusive, Philly Cooking with Maurice. I talked about it a little bit. But we all wanted to see the record broken. But, they got bigger fish to fry. They got a bigger goal in mind. And that kind of leads me into what went right. No injuries. Even to our backups. Even to our special teams players. No injuries. We didn't.
I thought you were going to say Jahan Dotson getting 94 yards.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah. He was the most targeted receiver. Had the most yards. Shout out to him like I said, shout out to him for getting some burn. Finally, Dallas Goedert came back, by the way, from his IR stint, and he got some touches. That was just to get him in the groove for next week. I was cool with that. And, only thing that went right, no injuries. I will say that for the most part, after week 18, the Eagles have kind of went unscathed when it came to the injuries, besides Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham was the only one that had a long-term injury or a season.
He was recently on ESPN.
Yeah, he was, yeah. And Brandon Graham's 36 years old, so, I mean, although he was having a good season, he's not one of the main focal points of our team. So we got lucky with the injuries this season. So we're going into this game against the Packers fully loaded. So there's no excuses from a personnel standpoint. But I'll get into that later when we talk about the playoff matchups, me and Lucas. Besides that, like I said, we're all right. No injuries. Nothing went wrong. If I had to give a player a game, it would be Tanner McKee. Passed for a good amount of yards.
So who's the backup? Because honestly, you look at Kenny Pickett. Like no, I mean just like after this season, who would you rather have, McKee or Pickett? Because I'd almost rather have McKee.
Yeah, McKee. I didn't mention this, by the way, but Jalen Hurts hasn't officially come out of the concussion protocol. I think he will tomorrow.
They said he was limited participation today, I think.
Yeah, but I never heard anything about coming out of the protocol.
He has to do it by Friday, I think.
Yeah, I'll double check that. But as of this recording Wednesday night. Couldn't record last night with technical difficulties. Sorry about that. But as of right now, he's a limited participant in practice. He was on the injury report. He was actually on the injury report today with a concussion and a broken finger on his non-throwing hand. But with all that said, we fully anticipate him being a quarterback Sunday for the Packers game. So, like I said, player of the game was Tanner McKee. GG's Mal. We'll see you guys next season.
Yeah, see you next year. Woo!
Yeah, and on that note, woo! But now
I had a lot of woo-woos tonight in like sarcasm. Woo!
Yeah, well, you do.
Well, not for Tampa. Those were real for Tampa.
No, not for Tampa. But you have some more woo-woos because the Giants there's been news with the Commanders, Giants, and Cowboys already this offseason, and we're going to go Cowboys first because, of course, as the Jerry world turns, so does ESPN and all the other major networks. Earl, what the heck is going on with the Cow? What is Jerry Jones doing? He's being petty, in my opinion. I think he's being petty. What's going on?
Well, apparently Chicago Bears tongue-tied. Apparently, the Bears have requested an interview with Mike McCarthy for the head coach vacancy, but Dallas decided to decline that offer. So I assume it's because Mike McCarthy might be coming back to Dallas, but there's no confirmation. There's no signed paper with that. So I don't know. Might see something around the time of the wild card weekend or the deadline of the contracts expiring on the 14th of January. So, yeah, apparently I assume Mike McCarthy might be coming back, and maybe Jerry just didn't want anybody to interview Mike McCarthy because of that. But I think it's
why take a day to respond? I guess that's my question, because they took like a full day plus to respond to the Bears' request.
It's the Jerry business tactic, and if you're whatever you call it, it's how things been kind of rolling with Dallas. They wait to the very last minute on things, and for it's just kind of the waiting game. It's the norm. I'm just not ready to talk about it fully until I know who the head coach is. I got until the 14th to figure out what's happening. Is Mike McCarthy gone? Is there a new head coach coming in? My personal favorite to be the head coach is Mike Vrabel, but I doubt that's happening.
So you don't think Mike McCarthy's coming back?
If he comes back, it's going to be either in a way where they'll probably work with him on probably not being the play caller. And if that's not the case for McCarthy, I will let him walk. But a lot of the players, a few players spoke that they want McCarthy back. I just think there's need to be a new voice in the organization. And I think they need to move from being a coach, but bring in a player who can coach the players and play the game. Because I think they need a voice of better discipline, as well as someone who is fully understanding of being in their shoes. And he has the rings. Yeah, he doesn't have the Super Bowl rings as a head coach, but if it's a Mike Vrabel, I can see him throwing his rings on the table, being like, I was in the same area where you guys are, and I won these things. So he has that insight to be able to engage with the players, that they have a better understanding, better of a disciplinary actions. Because for Mike McCarthy, I know what he's capable of doing. You can give them the 3 straight 12-5. I give that to you. But along the way, these darn pre-snap penalties. I can't tell you how much momentum you can go with moving the ball and there's a penalty that sets you back. I hate to see that for a team. When you lead the league in penalties and pre-snap penalties, that hurts you. And if you're not fully engaged in making sure your team is going where they need to go, I'm tired of it. I'm ready for a new voice. And I just feel like he's really lazy on the fact of getting the team ready. I've seen too many teams these last couple of years that are a stacked team and they just not prepared in the postseason. I can't tell you how many times as a fan, and I can speak for other Cowboy fans with this, on seeing a top-notch roster not ready for the postseason. Yeah, there's something wrong. When you're saying the guys, they were scared, they were not ready to play, no, you can't have that. Now, I'm going to say this and I'm done, but a lot of people have been saying, and I'm not one of those people, but Dallas won't see success until Jerry meets the ground. And with that could be true because I don't think Jerry cares about winning anymore. I think he's at that point now. He wants Jerry's World to be the biggest magical place on world, aka Barnum and Bailey's, the greatest show. Like, it's in that mindset. It's no longer about football. Now, I believe Stephen Jones, I'll give him this credit. I think he will bring a guy in because all he cares about is the money. But if it's a coach coming in here, I think the coach will coach. But until that point, when we get there, we got what we got. So whatever happens, I just got to see what happens on the 14th. I digress.
So real quick. Mike McCarthy's contract, does he have a contract for next year? Or
No.
Do they have to renew it or extend it?
It expires on the 14th. All the coaches.
Okay.
So not just him. But I'll just say, sorry, go ahead.
All of them. No, you're good.
So that's next week, basically.
Yep. So you got McCarthy, Al Harris, Mike Zimmer, Jeff Zergonia, Paul Gunther. You got the other coaches that's there as well. Scott McCurley, Brian Schottenheimer, the fool Jeff Blasco. Like, you got all these guys. All the coaches' contracts are up on the 14th. So, I just got to wait till that time happens. When I figure out what's happening, then I'll have a barbershop talk with JT.
I think the question before Lucas goes, I think the question is not does Jerry Jones want to bring back Mike McCarthy? I think the question is, does Mike McCarthy want to come back to that?
I don't think he wants to. Like, there's no salary cap when it comes to coaches, and he's only getting paid $4.5 million. And if you look at some of the other coaches in the double digits, 8 of those coaches are in the postseason. They pay for what they have, and boom, you got it. And when you're just shortchanging a coach that you're really handcuffing and not really letting him get the best out of his time there, no doubt in my mind, if they gave him the full reins to do what he needs to, I can at least make that judgment to see it. They really cut this man to the core this season, gave him nothing. Even when he brought in Zimmer, they didn't really do much to help Zimmer. Zimmer was working with what was in-house. So maybe it was a test on the Joneses' part, which I think is stupid. But even at that point in time, I think Jerry is to the point now he wants to keep McCarthy, but maybe Stephen Jones is like, yeah, we need to bring someone else in here because we already know what we got in McCarthy. But if you want to win, then maybe he can't get you there, or maybe he can, but you got to give him the full reins to let him do his thing. But I can't make that judgment. I just gotta see what happens. So I'm in the waiting game like everyone else.
Well, I'm just going to say 2 quick things, and then we got to keep on moving.
Proceed.
One, if Jerry doesn't hire Mike McCarthy back and refuses to let him go, that's just the
Yeah,
league
it's
needs
petty.
to do something.
It's
needs
wrong.
to do something.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah.
And he's not just holding up Mike McCarthy; he's holding up that whole entire coaching staff. So that's not okay.
All right, second point.
And I just like you said, they're not paying him much, and I can see Jerry totally doing this because he did it with Dak, announcing it at the beginning of the playoffs.
Like he shortchanged CD as well. Like he waits to the last minute things. He likes headlines, and when you know he's not about winning, he's about the headlines now.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen until Friday or Saturday this week. I almost guarantee it's Saturday or Sunday. Sorry, it's not going to happen until then. Honestly, he could do it right before the Eagles games, just to be,
like he wants to be in the headline. So what would be the biggest moment for that? And that's the wild card weekend or Monday's wild card game. Because the 14th is coming up. So yeah.
So anyway, you know what? An owner who has made up his mind is the Giants. So Mal, talk about his decision to bring back both of them and the comments that he made to New York sports writer, I don't know his name, but he made really interesting comments after the press release came out.
He made a press release right now.
Yeah, but he also did an interview afterwards, which got a little spicy.
Yeah, he just all right. So it was always going to be fire both or fire none. Like the whole he should keep Shane and fire Dable thing, whatever, or keep Dable, fire Shane. That was never going to work. So I'm glad he actually made a decision and he made it quickly because there's been a lot of fighting amongst if it should happen or it shouldn't. Listen, I don't know if it's the right decision. I'm going to go with probably not, if it were my honest opinion. But we'll see. They get a shot to get their guy and get another chance. But here's the thing. Problem with this whole situation is with Mara's comments especially. Mara basically said in all other terms, and it didn't even make sense. I don't even feel like I'm living in real life anymore. I feel like I'm living in a simulation a little bit because I feel like I'm being punked 24/7 by this football team. Where he was like, it better be a better result next year because I'm starting to lose my patience. And it's okay, so if you're losing your patience and and the other comment that he made was that one of the reporters asked him, do you think the roster is in a better spot than when you first hired Joe Shane 3 years ago? And he goes, I don't think actually that it's in a better spot. Okay, so why are you bringing him back then? That doesn't make any sense. So you're contradicting your decision by making these comments because you know what? Mara is a bloody buffoon. He doesn't know what he's doing. He meddles too much into what he wants done. Listen, he did take a step back this year and he did say, listen, I'm going to let Shane and Dable, do their plan. But, how long we talking with this plan, dog? You gotta draw a line at some point. And here's the issue here, too. You can't have a GM and a head coach on the hot seat on a 1-year prove-it deal when they're about to draft their rookie QB. It's just going to kill that rookie QB's development. They're going to be in a new system next year after Shane and Dable are fired.
But East.
But it just, I don't know. So they better hope that they make the right move. I'm not confident, to be honest with you, but it low key is what it is. I'm going to try and give it a fresh thought and, keep all negativity and comments about them until next season when they start to do their thing again, because it's just going to be stupid if the entire offseason we're fighting about if they're going to make the right decision or not, because they're the ones in charge. Mara has made that official. It's not even it's up in the air anymore. So, new season, new draft, higher opportunity to potentially get a game changer. Giants do have the number 3 overall pick, so they will wind up with one of the top QBs or Travis Hunter, unless they trade back in a weird scenario where they want Mason Graham or someone else they have their eyes on and want to gain more capital. But I can see probably either Ward, Sanders, or Hunter being a Giant next year. And we'll see what happens on draft night. But I'm just really tired of the Giants, guys. I'm happy the season's over. They exhaust me. Me and them are taking a break for a little bit.
But you're not taking a break from our podcast.
No. Me and the Giants are taking a break.
Okay. That being, look, I think the comments were a little. It almost feels like he kept them because somebody else in the family's telling him to, like, hey, don't do this. Don't fire them. Give them one more shot.
I genuinely think he's doing it on his own choice.
Yeah, it's his final.
I really
final choice.
do.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
Like the way he made his comments were that he was so sure that he was sold on this plan by Dable and Shane, and either those guys know how to sweet talk, which I mean Joe Shane basically does, or Mara's just really just hoping that the continuity makes it a turn. I don't know, but I definitely think he made the choice on his own.
I think, yeah, I'm starting to notice a lot of the older owners, they don't like change.
Yeah.
Agreed.
For whatever reason. And John Mara, just like kind of like Jerry Jones, they don't want change. And this is an embarrassing season for the Giants. I'm gonna be honest with you now. This was an embarrassing. The whole season was an L. Your 100th season. I mean, you had a bright spot, Dabers, Tracy, some of the defensive guys.
Like, how often do we sweep you guys in the season? Like,
yeah,
not too often, especially in recent history.
That's not even it. It wasn't even the Commanders. Like, no offense, Lucas. Like, that wasn't really what any of us were concerned about. The more concern was the fact that we were going to go defeated at home. We went 0-6 in the division for like the first time ever. There was a lot of other things that were a big factor into why the season was just so bad, and the fact also that like we can't stay healthy as a team ever. It doesn't matter. And it's always the big name guys, and it's always every year. It's honestly a lot needs to be done. And like I said, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's exhausting to talk about because it seems like I'm just repeating myself 24/7. And every content creator I talk to says the same thing. Like they don't even know what to talk about anymore because what do you talk about?
Talk about the positives that you have a franchise receiver. You have I wouldn't say franchise running back, but a starting running back.
Yeah, but
you have good pieces on the offensive line.
Yeah, but at this point, where are the results to show for it? And you got to hope that you can turn it around in one season, or you go right back to square one with a brand new regime. So,
yeah. You guys are going to have we got a whole off season to talk about free agency and draft and all that. But you guys got some holes.
Yeah. So
offensive line, quarterback.
And Mal, think of it this way: you pretty much got a chance to get a glimpse of how they run things through the hard knocks thing they did with the Giants. So who knows? Like
season 2 of Giants off-season Hard Knocks, please. Yes, please.
No, I don't think they need another one.
They don't need it, but
John Mara's not going to allow that.
I was going to say that.
He's not going to allow that.
Mara will not allow that again.
No.
Okay, that being said, let's get to the Commanders real quick. I know they're in the playoffs, but there was significant news off the field for them. The current president, Joe Biden, signed the bill that would allow renovation of the current or rebuilding of the current RFK Stadium, along with some other stuff that, would help the, DC city as well. Look, it's a great first step. We still got to hammer out like who's going to pay for what. I'm sure this ownership would be willing to work with the city. We know the ownership is currently getting ready to build a new arena in Philadelphia as well, as Maurice knows. So I'm going to say this. First off, Harris is trying to be one of the biggest moguls of sports right now. Like it's him and the Cronkies out on the West Coast right now.
How many franchises does he have? 4?
He has 3.
I know he has a soccer team too.
Yeah, but do we really count European soccer teams? I don't know.
Anyway. It's a sports team.
I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, Lucas, don't get in the fight now with that.
Okay. Anyway. So yeah, look, the guy has his hand in everything. Josh Harris, shout out to you. Thank you for saving this franchise from Dan Snyder. Absolutely, because DC wouldn't have done this with Dan Snyder still at the helm.
Sidebar: save the Sixers. Continue, Lucas.
Well, okay, Harris has been doing fine as the Sixers owner. Okay, he's been doing fine. He's not been terrible. It's not like the former regime of the Sixers ownership. Okay,
fair enough.
Yeah. So anyway,
AKA trust the process.
So now the question is, what do we do? What's the next step? I think after you get the stadium, like the I guess this is a question for you guys too. Should we rebrand before we get to the new stadium, or rebrand once we get to the new stadium?
this is like 10 years from now, Lucas. But
yeah,
they project like 2031. I think is when they.
Like I said, it's some ways.
It's about what is it? A 6 year?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, as long as you guys bring back the logo, whatever the name is.
Well, it seems like the logo stuff is more for like selling memorabilia stuff, not so much for rebranding the team at this point.
Well, if you're not a rebrand, let's go back. Let's go to Commanders. I mean, what's wrong?
I think you could compromise, use the feather, and put it on the W like Dan Quinn's shirt had, and then call us the Warriors, and I think everybody would be happy.
Okay, in that question, Lucas, do you keep the mascot?
Major Cuddy, no.
Yes,
Burn him at the stake.
Because I mean, y'all are
burn him at the stake and then serve him to the fans. Serve him to the fans. Burn him at the stake. Serve him to the fans.
That's a big roast pig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's a feast right there.
That is a feast.
I mean, he's major for goodness sakes.
Man, my imagination just went to a very dark place.
Shame on you, sir.
Anyway. I'm just picturing the mascot with an apple in his mouth on a rotisserie. Anyway.
I'm calling the PETA on you.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Look, I think that I think it would be okay whether you do it before or after, but I think if you rebrand, start the new brand and the new stadium at the same time, that would be cool stuff.
Yeah
I think that would be the right way to do it.
I agree.
So, that might be another 6 years from now, but whatever. The NFL rules for rebranding would still be okay at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I just think y'all need to. I think y'all just need to kind of rock with the stadium, and then over time, bring the stuff y'all already have over, because putting so much into the stadium, that's going to mean a lot to the fans to go back to DC, and then after that, then the rebranding can come along. Just kind of work with one step.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't rebrand until you move into that stadium. Like that first inaugural season, you rebrand at the same time. Bam, bam, bam. Make everything like big. And Jaden Daniels will be in his 7th season at that point, in his prime.
And then Lucas will be like, "Whoa, baby, bam, bam, whoa, baby, bam, bam."
Anyway, let's get to our social media stuff before we start getting too goofy. Or maybe that's the right time to get to our social media stuff.
Mailbag. We have one question coming to us this week. Now, this question was directed towards one person. I'm going to direct it towards everybody.
Yeah.
So, real quick, we're going to rank the quarterbacks in the NFC East division.
There's two. I sent you one from TikTok.
You did, but I'm going with the one from Twitter first.
Oh, okay. You said just one.
Which was actually yours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for cutting me off.
Forgot about that one.
All right. So we'll rank the quarterbacks in NFC East 1 to 4. We won't do backups. Let's just keep it to the main starters. I'm going to start with...
Well, I don't have one.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's actually a good point.
Let's just do the top 4.
Just keep the top 4. Just call the... Just address it as the New York Giants quarterback room, and it's going to be the worst anyway, so save yourselves time.
We'll say Drew Lock. He started the majority of y'all's games, so we'll say Drew Lock is your starter.
No, him and Tommy DeVito split it, so honestly...
We'll just say the quarterback room of the Giants.
Yeah, and they're going to be last anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you pick.
So really, we're just ranking the top 3. Let's just call it what it is.
Yes.
Let's just call it.
Is this all into this week or through the season?
Through the season. No. Let's just do this season. Yeah.
Their production. Are we not projecting?
Not projecting. Not using previous seasons. Just this season.
Yeah. All right. We'll go with Lucas first.
Number 3, Dak. Number 2, Jalen. Number 1, Jaden. I don't think there's much argument there.
All right, Earl.
Based off this season.
I'm gonna go. So these are like the starters.
Yes,
just top 3.
Just starters? Okay. I'm going to go Jaden. I'm going to go J-Dash, Jalen Hurts, and Dak, and then the Giants room.
Mm-hmm. I think I have it the same way.
Yeah.
Same way. You do too, Mal?
Yeah.
So when I said at the beginning of this offseason,
here we go.
Jaden Daniels Could be the second best one.
Episode
I was
66.
underselling it, if anything. Just say it. Just saying. And yes, this was an elaborate scheme by me to get to this point.
Well, actually, from a skill. All right, so I'll give you your flowers, Lucas. You
Okay.
were right. You
Thank
were
you.
right.
Thank you.
But from a skill level,
I'm gonna give him a dandelion.
At a skill level, I'm still giving it to Jalen Hurts.
Nah, I think from a skill level, I think Dak is the best.
Dak is the most technically sound of the three.
I don't know.
But if you're talking about overall play and impact, like Dak had too many. Like Cooper Rush played more games but had less interceptions. Like this season, Dak had a bad season. He was going to have
every quarterback, or the top three quarterbacks.
And I'm not trying to take shots at Dak. I'm just stating facts.
I think all three quarterbacks have their positives. Like I think Jalen is just a winner and he wins, and he's pretty much consistent for the most part. And he missed a game, but still he's consistent. And he wins.
Jalen is less is more with him.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
but I mean, still, with that said, like he wins.
Yeah, he wins. Dak,
I think Dak is the best passer.
Yeah,
and I think Jalen is the most, I would say, multifaceted, multi-tooled right now.
And look, he had 12 fourth quarter / overtime touchdowns. Like the guy
I need
has
to
a
see
clutch
more of it before I label him clutch. I need to see more.
That's more than any other rookie in NFL history. I don't. Okay.
I mean, if he does it next season, I'll be like, okay, Jaden Daniels is a clutch quarterback.
Okay.
Don't give. He's going to be on that echelon where you can't give him the ball with the clock running out.
Yeah,
you can't give him the ball. You got to keep the ball away from him.
That's like Peyton Manning.
Tom Brady, Mahomes.
Yeah, those type of guys. Yeah. But look, I mean, if you looked at the overall numbers, him and Mahomes' numbers are actually pretty similar this year. If you look at total yards and total touchdowns and interceptions.
What are you trying to say, Lucas?
Nothing yet. We need a little bit more body
Maurice,
work.
he's on his high horse. He's like, giddy up.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Shout out Derek on TikTok. We're on TikTok, by the way.
Yeah.
He asked, with Saquon not breaking Eric Dickerson's record, boy, due to being held out, who do you think has the best shot of breaking the record?
Derrick Henry's too old.
I mean, see, the thing is,
I don't know if Saquon will do it again. People are going to
going forward. I'm going to say Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Pretty good.
But also, like, here's the thing, too,
I got somebody that's not even playing yet.
That record was broken in 16 games. So, like, like when it was a 16-game season?
Yeah, it still counts.
No, I get it still counts, but I don't know. Isn't that always going to have like an asterisk next to it if it's being in 17 games?
I think it only Eric Dickerson sees it as an asterisk. I'm actually going to say a player that. I mean, look. So I'm going to say a guy that hasn't played yet, but is going to get drafted this year. Scatterboot. Or Scatterbooth? Is it Scatterbooth?
No.
Earl? Why not?
It's Scatterboo and no.
Why not?
Okay, so you're going to bank on him trying to achieve that running like a 4.5, 4.6?
It's not like, first off, like Saquon's not like an all-time speedster at the position.
He ran a 4.43 into 40.
I'm just saying, like, Scatterboo, I don't know. I see the dog in him. And I'm going to give him a shot.
Okay, way too early prediction for Lucas.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean,
I'm actually...
if it happens, then kudos to him. But he's got to be in an important situation for that to happen.
I think he gets drafted by the Chargers. I see him going to L.A.
They're fine. Look, they got enough running backs right now. Now, I don't know. It's like you could look at the running back with the Rams now, Blake Corum. He set a rushing record at Michigan. Like, I mean, they're kind of almost the same type of build, but Scatterboo is bigger. Like, that's gonna be tough. Like, if he can get there, then yeah. But I think the hype needs to kind of dial down a bit with Scatterboo, though.
You were telling me to look at him for the Commanders earlier this year.
In the later rounds.
Just because he'll be good for your team doesn't mean he's going to break the record.
I mean,
like Mel was saying, that's a good point, Mel, because a lot of things have to go your way for that to even be possible. And it was for Saquon because he came to a team with a great offensive line, probably rated the best offensive line. They changed the offense just to suit him, basically. They went from a passing offense to a rushing offense. He's still in his prime. Like, a lot of things had to happen, and it does suck that he didn't break the record. But so, I'll throw a current name. I think it's the person that's most similar to Saquon. That's Bijan Robinson.
And even at that point, he's splitting time with Algier and Atlanta. Like, they really haven't given him the full load yet. With what he can do. So you just gotta wait and see.
Saquon really didn't have to share it. I mean, Gainwell got some carries, but Saquon got all the carries.
Yeah.
So, Mal, did you give an answer?
Yeah, I said Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, let's keep on moving now. Earl, I think it's your time to shine.
Yep, this is gonna be quick. This is Who's That Football Player? Road Warrior. This football player played with the New York Giants back in the 2001 season. This player had 22.5 sacks, 24 tackles for loss, 73 total tackles, 61 solo, 2 pass deflections, 6 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery for 23 yards, and 1 fumble TD. His career awards: one-time Defensive Player of the Year, a Super Bowl champion, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, Hall of Fame, first team All 2000s. Maurice, who's that football player?
Oh, yeah. Well, you have the answer too.
Oh,
I get the answer too?
Yeah. You don't know who it is.
It's got to be Strahan, right?
Yeah, Strahan.
Mal, tell him.
Michael Strahan.
Are we just doing like everybody's favorite like franchise player right now? Because Earl did Emmitt Smith.
That's why I felt the vibe.
Okay, well I can't do it now because our listeners know that that's going to be going on. So I have to throw out.
Look, Michael Strahan was a phenomenal defensive player. I do like the little Fox little cartoon thing they did with the roller coaster going through his gap. I thought that was the funniest thing growing up watching that. But yeah, he's a GOAT. He's a phenomenal football player with the Giants. Respect.
Yeah, respect.
Well, that being said, let's get to some Eagles and some Giants poll questions.
Yes, let's do that. Let me just pull them up real quick, guys. Sorry. Okay. We'll do the Giants one first because this has already been a conversation we had on the pod. Was keeping both GM Joe Shane and head coach Brian Daboll the right call for the Giants? Most people said no, which is expected. I don't think it was popular amongst the fan base, so we spoke about that already. And our Philadelphia Eagles question, which is actually decided. Eagles fans, who would you rather see in the first round of the playoffs, the Commanders or the Packers? Most said there was only 3 votes on this, but most said Packers.
Okay.
Crazy because we played both teams, so we're familiar with both.
Did you guys win against the Packers? I don't remember.
Yes, it was the Week 1 game in Brazil. Remember?
Yeah, I know that, but I can't remember the results.
And your game against Tampa Bay was also Week 1.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The rematch of Week 1.
Who knew?
Who knew? All right, next one is a Cowboys trivia question. Question is, which Cowboys QB has the most rushing yards in franchise history? Mal, Maurice, and Earl, who is it? Start with Mal.
I know Earl knows, so.
I really don't know. I didn't even get a chance to look at the trivia.
I don't know either.
All right.
You said most rushing yards?
All time for a quarterback in franchise history.
Super Bowl era, correct?
Super Bowl era. Well, they started in 1960, so there's only 6 years of non-Super Bowl era for them.
Dang, there's 4 quarterbacks.
Well, you just
Dallas, I can see
right there.
Oh, actually, I think I know this.
Who do you think it is, Mel?
I think it's Roger Staubach.
You think it's Roger Staubach? Maurice?
Yeah. You gave us a huge clue right there. It has to be either Staubach or, if I know my Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks, which I shouldn't. Don Meredith? I don't know.
So you're saying Don Meredith, Earl?
I'm torn between Roger, Danny White, and Dak.
I was going to say
options.
Dak.
I'm going to say Danny White.
Okay. Mal is the winner of this week's trivia.
I beat Earl. Put this down in the record books. Yeah.
Staubach had 2,264. Dak is the second closest quarterback with 1,938.
Okay.
And the third one is Don Meredith.
Look, all I've seen was the passing. Mal got that one. Job well done, Mal. Proud of you.
Yeah, man.
I thought that was a good question to ask.
I'm taking my bow.
I'm just happy that I stumped Earl finally. Feel good about it.
Hey, who's that football player? Keep trying.
Mission accomplished.
We'll get there.
This is prospect of the week. I'm curious about this one.
Oh yes, it's back to me. Back to me. All right, let me pull up my guy here. Let's see. All right. Prospect of the week goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. In the 5th round, I have the Eagles drafting Bud Clark from the University of TCU. And let's see here. Because Lucas don't put down the height in pounds of the player in the prospect.
I don't have space for it, bud.
It's all good. No worries. Bud Clark, he weighs in at 6'2", 190 pounds. I've seen him play the last couple of seasons with TCU, and this guy is an absolute baller. There's situations where he's solid in coverage, as well as being physical on receivers. He definitely goes in to tackle when needed to, and he's really an aggressive player. The one weakness I have with him is better improvement with tackling, where I would want to see him wrap up more, especially with tackling, being able to throw that shoulder. And I think over time in the next level, I think he'll improve with that. I think he should bulk up a bit as well, especially with just his body frame of being 6'2". I think if he's somewhere around at least a 212, maybe 220, especially with a 6'2" body frame, I think that's good for him, especially with playing safety. And I just think for the Eagles, they need a guy who is healthy and can be an impact guy, especially at the safety position, kind of like a Malcolm Jenkins. So I think for the Eagles, with this being a late round draft pick, especially in the 5th round, he can work his way on special teams until he's able to work himself on the 53-man roster. So, yeah, he's my prospect for this week.
Yeah, I like that one. Right now, we have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Blankenship, and Sidney Brown. I think we only got about maybe 2 more years of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So this would be a nice player to just stash. Keep him on the special teams. Let him just soak up all the knowledge. And then a year or two from now, we can see what he do maybe as a starter. So I like that pick, especially in the later rounds.
What do you think? Is CJ that old?
I think I want to say 31.
Oh, well, he led the division in interceptions this year. Shout out to him.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, Maurice, if you get a chance, definitely look out for the Ohio State-Texas semi-round in the college football playoff. There's a safety, Caleb Downs. He's a transfer from Alabama that's playing with Ohio State. He plays almost like a C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but he plays all around the field. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. He also good in special teams as well as a punt returner.
And by the way, I'm going to correct myself. I was absolutely wrong. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is only 27. I thought he was like 30. He's young.
Yeah.
So
on that note, let's get to the wild card matchups real quick and then wrap things up.
All right. So we'll start off with – actually, we're going to start up with our game because we play first. Then you guys play after us. 4:30, yeah. Packers Eagles. Like I mentioned, this is a week 1 rematch from Brazil, but this time we actually do have home field advantage because we're playing at Lincoln Financial Field. So there's
y'all about to beat the Packers.
Yeah, they're without Christian Watson, and
not only that, Jordan Love got hurt in the last game against the Bears.
They said he should be okay. They lost Jair Alexander, their corner,
out for the season. Yep,
out for the season. That's a big hit, especially when you're going up as AJ. You need a solid, corner of CB1 to go up against AJ Brown.
I got y'all winning 28-17.
28-17. What you got predictions, Lucas? Now,
I'll go. I'll do 34-21.
Okay,
I can see that as well.
27-14.
It's just a determination factor if Jalen Hurts plays.
I think he's going to play. I got the Eagles winning. I think it's going to be a close one.
If he doesn't play, then it's up in the air.
Yeah, it's up in the air. We're in trouble. Jalen Hurts will play. Because we played this team earlier this season, they have film on us. They kind of gauge. You can know how to gauge everything. They got the Eagles winning 28-24, a nail biter.
Yeah.
But I do have the Eagles winning, and that's all that matters is the win. So, yeah, this is going to be I think it's going to be a good game. I think this might be the most competitive game.
I'm going to disagree with you on that because I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield, who has had a career season, versus let's face it, Rookie of the Year quarterback.
Yeah, go into it.
Look, I think that this is going to be a really tough matchup. Both teams are relatively healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They both have dynamic rookies. They have a dynamic rookie running back. Mike Evans is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Shout out to him, putting up, getting
another
into the same
season.
Yeah, another 1,000-yard season. Look, the guy's legit. They have other good wide receivers there too. It looks like Marshawn Lattimore will be back. Looks like Tyler Biadasz is trending towards coming back. Both of them are trending to coming back. They still need to clear some hurdles, but I think they're going to be back. Jonathan Allen played a little bit in the last game. Hopefully he'll be more, most of the rust came off in that last game, so he'll be better this game. Look, I don't want to. Tampa Bay, the first time around when we went there, it was the beginning of September. It is muggy, it is humid, whatever. It is now nice weather in Tampa Bay. It's going to be evening game. Like, it's probably going to be in the 60s. Probably the warmest climate that Jaden has played in since like October. So I'm all for it. I think that. I mean, Dallas was a dome, so I don't really count Dallas. But I look, it's going to be a tough game. I'm not going to say. I would love for us to win, and I think there's a chance for us to win if we attack the Buccaneers, especially. We have to be able to tackle Baker and take him down because there was a lot of almost sacks in that first game that didn't happen. That needs to change this time around. Dante Fowler Jr. needs to live up to being the second lead division, second in the division with sacks. It just has to happen. So we will see if that happens, but. The keys to victory is wrapping up Baker, making sure that we don't get beat in the wide receiver. And Lattimore versus Mike Evans is a classic matchup that everybody wants to see. And I need our running backs to step up. If we can attack the running game, then we have a shot of winning this. Because if they have to plan for both the running game and the passing game, Jaden's going to tear it apart. So those are my keys to victory in this game. Prediction. I want the Commanders to win, so I am going to say my prediction is a close 24-28 victory.
I'll say this. Todd Bowles knows how to play Jada Daniels. Todd Bowles has made a career off of, the mobile quarterbacks, keeping them in the pocket, disguising his defense, and blitzing when he has to. Mm-hmm. That's like Todd Bowles 101.
Yeah.
This is going to be
now
tough.
Had a whole season of experience and seen that defense firsthand. So,
okay, all right, yeah, they can definitely look at the film. Say that. I'll say this: if the Commanders can score more than 21 points, you have a high probability of winning this game.
That's fair.
If you don't score 21 points, you're not winning. So with that said, So with that said, I have the Buccaneers winning 21-17.
Okay.
But that score can actually flip. Like I said, if the Commanders can score 21 points, I think you got a good chance of winning. So it could be some Commanders 21-17. But I do have the Buccaneers winning because they have the experience. They've been in this environment before. They're the home team. They know how to win football games, especially playoff games. So
for the crew.
Yeah, I bet you are. Okay, so now has Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning, obviously.
I have them winning 27-20.
Okay. Earl, are you going to be on my side, or are you going to join the dark side here?
You going to support the Wizard Kids, Earl?
All I'm going to tell you is going to be a blowout.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
You didn't say which team, Earl.
Yeah, you didn't say which team.
No, he's not going to. He's playing mind games with me right now, and it's working. Okay, on that note, Maurice, play us out because I don't want to be here no more. Let's go.
All right. At least this is not Everybody Hates Lucas episode.
It's not.
True.
But if Becca was here, it would be.
All right. We truly thank you all for listening to our podcast this week. Please consider subscribing to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Check us out on YouTube. We have clips, bloopers, YouTube exclusive audio as well. Check us out on Threads and TikTok. We're back on that as well. Make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads and TikTok once again, and Facebook at 13_Rings Podcast. Until next time, have a good day, guys.
Adios.
Bye, y'all.
Blessings.